Welcome to the Sacred Emergence Podcast. I'm your host, Michelle Wong, and I'm so thrilled that you're here. This is a place where you'll be guided to living your most aligned life so that your truest, most radiant self can emerge. We'll be jamming on topics ranging from spirituality, entrepreneurship, to wellness and lifestyle design, and everything in between that can support you to grow, evolve, and shine, all the while not taking ourselves too seriously. So if you're ready to step into your leadership, break through limiting beliefs, own all of who you are, and expand in abundance, grab yourself your faith cup of tea and let's dive in. Hello, welcome back to another episode of Sacred Emergence. Michelle Wong here. Thank you for being here. Thank you for listening. Whether or not this episode just came out or you're tuning back to previous episodes, welcome. I am so honored that you are here. Today is a solo episode, and you might notice that it is not being issued on a Monday. I have been interviewing so many amazing guests that my actual episode schedule is already scheduled for the middle of next month. And we, at the time of this recording, it is early August 2019. And so I decided that for my current solo episodes, I'm going to publish them sometime during the week. So you'll get a guest episode on Monday, and then you'll get a solo episode from me probably Wednesday or Thursday. And this won't be all the time, but I just figured it'll be really good to share a little bit more that is coming through for me and me wanting to share it with you. So I trust that you are having a wonderful summer. For those of you who are in the Northern Hemisphere, it's August right now. The temperature is amazing. In Seattle, we've had really hit or miss weather this summer. So far, the weather in August has been lovely, and I'm just loving the energy of summer. And anyway, maybe you're listening to this in the winter. Okay, so getting into today's episode, I really wanted to share kind of my experience of when I started my business and a few things that it just wasn't told to me, and it was just through my own experience. And I think this happens in life in general, but I wanted to share this because for those of you who are wanting to start a business or are pretty new to your business venture, I think it's helpful just to hear other people's experiences of when they started and that you're not alone, right? There's always support out there. You're never alone. And I thought it would be helpful for you to hear my story. So when I started my business, and I think the word business, so basically when I think of business, it's outside corporate world, right? So I've had a side business for the longest time. My introduction to quote unquote, not receiving a W-2, in the US, you have a W-2 if you're an employee. My introduction to not receiving one and being an independent contractor. So in the US, it's a 1099. Where you get to log your mileage and claim deduction for, eating expenses and all of that, all related to business, was when I started teaching Pilates. And so that, I don't know if you can call that a business because I didn't do any marketing. I literally showed up at the studio that I taught at, and then the studio I was at did marketing for me. And obviously it was encouraged for us to promote classes and stuff. But it was never this is my business. It was more like something I was really, really passionate about on the side. And I had to apply for a business license. So that was, I don't know, I don't really consider that my introduction to my business. And this could be different. Maybe for you, you're wanting to teach yoga and have that be your full-time thing. Then that's different, right? For me, that was something I loved doing on the side. And maybe over time, I could see me transitioning into teaching full-time, but I knew that as I was teaching it, for me, it was perfect just to have that on the side. But anyway, my real introduction to my stepping into entrepreneurship and being an entrepreneur was when I started my network marketing business. And that was a few years back. I've been with my company now for almost 10 years. And again, that was always on the side next to my corporate job. But what I did want to share with you is just like what people don't necessarily tell you because, it's not like it's a secret or anything. It's just everybody has their own experience. And I love the network marketing industry. It has had like maybe not the best reputation just because of people who go into it might not have the best marketing skills, or different companies might teach you really old ways of sales and marketing that's a little bit dated. But for whatever those reasons, I've always had a really great experience. And However, what I do want to say is that anytime you step into something new, right, it doesn't have to be business necessarily. It could be like a new amazing hobby or something new that your social circle might not understand or know. Like, you'll oftentimes hit resistance, right? You might not get everybody's support, and that might trigger you in some way, or it might trigger other people. So anytime you are in the process of up leveling, what's going to happen is that your friends might fall away, right? And that's what I wanted to talk about today, because I just feel like when I look back to just my social circle and my friendship, it is so different than what it was 10 years ago. And when I first started my business, my network marketing business, I've had people judge me. I've had people like the fact that I was working with supplements. I've had people like start criticizing me because, what do I know about supplements? I'm not a doctor, although I have a very strong nutrition background, and I was studying naturopathic medicine at like the first naturopathic school in the country. Like, I was just getting a lot of just criticism. And what I know in those moments, and this has come from personal growth journey and just my own development and just knowing myself, not to get defensive, and also coming from a place of compassion, because what I feel in those conversations is that other person's fear, their fear that, I don't know, like, it's just confronting for other people sometimes. It could be like their fear of seeing me grow and up level, and it's not comfortable for them because they see me in a certain way. They put me in a box, or the fact that it's a mirror to them that they're not necessarily up leveling or advancing in their life. And so that can be very confronting for them to have someone close to them, or someone that they see on a daily basis doing something completely new and different that they might not have experience in them with themselves. And so like from that place, like it's always come from a place of compassion, right? I mean, I've had even my own family kind of look down on the work that I do, and it's not a real job. And it's like, and that can be triggering for me personally, because especially if it's like my parents. And so when it comes from, people that are more close to you, if it's like blood relations, also same thing, right? They're coming from a place of love and concern, because especially for parents, like they always want their children to be safe, to be protected, especially from Asian families. And I'm Chinese. And so it's like my mom would freak out when she learned that I was working with, a nutritional wellness company. And she also freaked out when I got my Pilates certification because she didn't know what Pilates was, and was like, oh my God, did you just get scammed? Like, why did you pay, $1,000 for training when I've never heard of this? What are you getting yourself into? And so that happens because people, if they're not familiar with it and they see a loved one, start in a new venture that is foreign to them, it can be scary for them, right? And what I really wanted to share is that that's going to happen, right? It might not happen immediately, but down the road, right, when you're following your dreams, you're going to come up with challenges. You're going to come up with some form of either criticism or whatever. And that is so normal. And what's really important is how you respond. And then for me, like my relationship with my mom has always been, I don't know, it's like the mother-daughter relationship is never, I mean, it's different for different people, but But the more I mature, the more I do personal work, I understand that there's just some things that with my mom, I don't necessarily always share because it's not like she won't understand. And I don't have to share everything with my mom or with a person who might not be supportive, right? And so there is that aspect. And what I did want to say is that don't let other people's criticism, judgment, or I don't know, disapproval of you stop you from going towards your dreams. If I let that happen, I would not have passed 3 weeks into my business. At that time, I even remember my ex, who was not my ex at that time when I started my business, like he was a little bit nervous and he would question me, and because he didn't have a sales marketing background, neither did I, but I was, willing to learn and I was excited about sharing something great with people who were open to learning more. And so my boyfriend at that time was just a little bit more, anxious, nervous, like, oh, are you sure this is what you really want to do? And like, how are you going to, market to people? And what if they say no? Like, there was just a lot of his fears. And initially it did affect me because we were together. And finally, I just had to be honest and be like, hey, this is something that I'm really, really passionate about. And it's actually really hard to be in a relationship where my partner isn't supportive and is questioning and doubting my motives. And obviously different relationships have different conversations, but with him, like he really heard me. And so he switched to being incredibly supportive after that. And so like different relationships, different dynamics, but it's always helpful to know yourself, right? Know why you're doing something, know where you're headed. And the most important thing is to believe in yourself always, always, and to surround yourself with supportive people. And so for me, when I launched my business with network marketing, some friends fell away, but more importantly, the doors opened up to an amazing, amazing group of really encouraging, supportive, really like abundant mindset entrepreneurs who have now become like my greatest friends, and I can be my complete self. And like I've learned so much in the journey of being an entrepreneur that it's made me a much better person. If I think back to before I started entrepreneurship, I was like a negative Nelly because I was so unhappy at my job. I don't know, I was just complaining all the time. And even in being in a relationship, my now ex was like, oh my God, like it's just hard to be around me, right? And so when I started pursuing things that really lit me up and just inspired me and surrounding myself with other people who were just really positive, that changed my energy because I wanted to change. And if I was being a negative Nelly around really positive people, first, like if I didn't want to change, then it wouldn't have been in my best interest, right? If you're generally a negative person, or let's just say you're generally a really, really positive person and you're around a lot of negative people, that's going to be instantly draining. And not only that, like you wouldn't want to be around them, right? The negative people. So for me, being around amazing people that I admired and wanted to grow and learn from, that really helped to change my mindset and just my energy. And then I started practicing gratitude, and just things started to shift over that time. But yeah, so I wanted to share this because sometimes I will talk to people who are interested in starting a business or joining the team, and all of that. And a lot of times what holds them back is like, well, I'm worried about what people might think. I'm worried about my spouse. I don't think I'm going to get their support. And if you hear an airplane behind me right now, it's Blue Angels. And so you might hear some airplane. Anyway, so a lot of times people will be held back to pursuing their dreams, or they'll get intimidated because they might not get the support from other people. And this is where your inner leadership comes in. When you are, without a doubt, strong in your own belief of where you are heading, nobody can say no to you. Like, and what I mean is like there's just no stopping you, right? Even your partner, like they're not going to be able to say no to you believing in your dreams because you have that personal conviction. And they might still resist and there might still be conflicts, but that's something you need to work with, right? And work with your partner or with a dear friend or whomever. But like if you are so solid in your conviction of where you are heading, their lack of buy-in won't stop you. And a lot of times I'll see where people aren't confident in where they want to head. They're iffy, like they're doubting their own self. So if they have a partner or a close friend or a family member like criticize what they're thinking, they'll step back. And that really, like when I see that happen, it just hurts because they're not stepping into their potential. They're not, really, they have work to do, really. But maybe like timing isn't right and it's going to take a few years, but whatever, everybody's on their own journey. But when I see someone not having that confidence and not doing that work to really have that conviction in themselves, it's like, oh, like, it just hurts to see that, especially when it's women, because we need to be empowering and uplifting and really making that step towards really living that life that we really desire, right? It doesn't have to be like doing a 180 switch and quitting your job tomorrow, but start taking mini steps is always like the best step forward, in my opinion, rather than spinning and getting stuck and wanting something different but not doing anything about it. So, yeah, what else did I want to say? So it's totally normal to have other people's resistance, and how you respond is really important. I just feel like that's just really important to share. And then I'm not saying that all of my friends, who when I first started, like, because my social circle, because I only had a corporate job, my entire social circle were people from corporate. And now I have friends from all over. I'll have friends in corporate, I'll have friends in business. My social circle has grown so much because having my own business has allowed me to build stronger relationships, and it's changed who I am. And now it's like I understand the importance of being present, of being grounded, of listening, being of service. And so now, like, I'll have like really awesome friends that I've been friends with even before I started my business, and we're still really great friends. We might not talk about business, right? So that's another thing. Like, all of your, like, you'll have different layers of friends, right? There'll be some that are so close that you can share everything with them, and then there'll be other friends that that you just won't talk about other things with, and that's totally normal, right? So different friends there'll be like different layers, like different boundary layers, right? And then same thing with like my mom. Like, I don't tell her everything. We don't really talk about business when we talk, right? It's just she's not a business person anyway, so there's just not a whole lot, but she would want to hear when I'm successful, right? So it's like if I hit a big milestone, I'll share that with her and she'll be happy because that's what she truly wants of me, to be safe, and that I am profiting. So that's like really understanding where the other person is coming from is important, but at the end of the day is what is true for you and letting that guide you. And so it's really important to make sure that when you're seeking advice, to make sure you're seeking advice from people who have done it before, right? Like someone who has experience and is where you want to be in the future, right? They've done it. Like, I would not ask my mom for business advice because she has no business experience. I wouldn't ask a person who's never been in a relationship for relationship advice, right? So it's like I wouldn't ask like a person who doesn't, if I'm like wanting to be really awesome in tennis, I wouldn't ask a person who doesn't know tennis for tennis advice. Like, you get the point. So all that to say is like when we step into something new, just be mindful and really know from like, you have to know yourself from a really strong place and quiet out the external noise, right? So for me, what I do is like my personal time is so important for me. And that's before I go to bed. I need wind down time. Like, I need to wind down. And then when I wake up, I don't touch my phone, right? It's in another room. It's on airplane mode. And when I wake up, I'll have my own personal morning rituals that I do. So I am like totally disconnected from the outer world until I'm ready to step into it. So I really need my own time. And that's self-care, right? That's putting myself a priority, making myself first. And I have no problems with that. And it's really about from that place when we are knowing ourselves, then whatever comes up, we can do a check. Like, is that really my opinion? Do I really feel the same way, or is it them projecting their fears on me? Right? So just be mindful of different energies and different thoughts. And there are amazing people out there who would support you no matter what, right? And so with any new venture, whenever you're up leveling, just know that with every up level, like there's just not everyone is meant to stay in that same circle as you. And that, I have stories from like when I went into university, and then from university getting a really swanky corporate job. Like I've had people fall away from even that, right? Because for whatever reasons, like who knows? And so it doesn't have to necessarily be with business, but I see this happen a lot with businesses, and maybe not getting support that we necessarily want, but that's okay, because I have to say, like, if I have to choose like where I am now to where I was 10 years ago, I would absolutely choose where I am now. And just because like I have grown so much and my social circle has expanded, the people that I meet are incredible. And I know so many amazing like successful entrepreneurs. And I also know amazing people who are in corporate. And so like it's through my own business that I've been more discerning of my own energy and how and who I want to spend my time with. And it's allowed me to be more courageous, more brave, and to take a stand for my own beliefs and know and trust in the direction that I'm heading towards, and trusting that whoever comes in my path is always like a learning moment, good or bad. And then also like, yeah, like there are going to be amazing positive people, and there'll be people in our world who are more quote unquote realistic. And like, I think whatever it is, I always err on the side of it's better to have more friends than enemies. And so I do my best to be inclusive and to be at least kind to people, and just understanding that not everybody I come across is meant to be a best friend. So I hope this is helpful. I did want to share my story because that I just feel like so often we hold ourselves back because somehow there's fear of getting criticized, or people don't know, and then they'll dive into something with like full force and like hit a wall because they're not getting that support. And it's so normal, and it's just part of the process of growth. So hopefully that is helpful to you. As promised, with every solo episode, I will pull a card. I'm really loving the Rebecca Campbell Work Your Light Oracle card deck. Every time I do a pull from it, it's just the message that comes through is incredible. So I'm using that deck today, and I'm shuffling it right now. So as I'm shuffling, the question that I'm asking is, thank you for revealing to me what my listeners need to know. And okay, I'm going to choose this one. Okay, ooh, this is so amazing. This is the ever unfolding rose. How appropriate for today's episode topic. Cracked open, it's happening for you, not to you. I feel like I think I said something like that. Didn't I say something like that in today's recording, in today's episode? Oh my goodness. Okay, let me find the page that this card is on. So the image that's on this card is there's this rose and this woman, and basically her arms are wide open, her back is kind of bending, and it's like letting that rose unfold. All right, let me see if I can find that page. The ever unfolding rose. Oh my goodness. This book is not in alphabetical order, so it is hard to find. That is my feedback. Oh, there it is. Page 28. That's my feedback for this deck, for this book. Okay. The ever unfolding rose. The challenge of life is to keep your heart open when you most want to close it, to let life crack you open. to open through hurt and loss, to allow what is falling away to fall away. Oh my God, this is so good. Being human is a courageous act. A life well lived is full of losses and tragedies as much as triumphs and adventures. Wherever you find yourself at the moment, life is coaxing you to keep your heart open no matter how much it hurts, to continually unfold, to let life crack you open. Perhaps you're going through a difficult time right now. Instead of cursing the difficulty, see it as a blessing. That perhaps, as hard as it may be, life is happening for you, not to you. And one day in the not too distant future, you may just bless the thing that broke you down and cracked you open because the world needs you open. Now is the time to go gently, to treat yourself like a tender, sweet baby, to wrap yourself in a blanket and trust that the mother has you cradled in her arms. The seas may not all be smooth sailing, but you are safe and you are held. One day, not too far from today, you will look back at the transformation and be blown away by the poetry of life. Everything is going to be okay. I couldn't have chose a better card for today's episode. Oh my God, that was perfect. Hope you resonated with that. I know that it was just so in alignment with everything that I shared. So yay. So thank you so much for tuning in. If this episode resonated with you, please share it. Do a screenshot. And share it on your stories and Instagram, and feel free to tag me at michellewong.xo. Thank you so much. I love you regardless. And I did want to share that I am going to be launching a one-on-one mentorship program in September. And right now I'm recording this in August, so it'll come out in August. But stay tuned. It'll be on activating your inner leadership. And I just feel like when I look around, we need more women to really up-level, step into their power, their confidence, and really see themselves as a leader that they are. And sometimes it's really helpful to have someone kind of guide you step by step in the process and be next to you as you are, stepping into your truth, your confidence, and doing the work that you're meant to do. And this is the work that I'm really, really passionate about. So I'm taking people through my inner leadership process, and it's going to be super fun, and I'm really pumped. So if you want more details on that, send me a DM as well, and happy to share more. And if it's something that calls to you, we can go from there. But I am just so super pumped. So thank you so much, everyone, for tuning in, and I will see you next time. Thank you. Thank you for listening to the Sacred Emergence podcast. Make sure you subscribe so you don't miss an episode, and thank you in advance for sharing this with others who can benefit. Until next time.